What's up, guys? It's Rob here, and we've got to talk about CEI stock, Camber Energy, because it's actually on the decline today. There are some important reasons why, and we're also going to talk about where it might be going in the future and what catalysts are moving this thing. So you can see that we are actually down in a fairly significant way today, all right? This is on some key news that just came out of Russia from Putin's mouth, his own very mouth, all right? He's the one who said what moved CEI stock down and is what actually moved the S&P up very much. Okay, the S&P was up about 1.5% over the course of 4 minutes on this move and this news that Putin just said. So what did he say, right? Well, basically, he said, President Vladimir Putin said that certain positive shifts have occurred in ceasefire talks between Russia and Ukraine. And all in all, that's a really good thing, right? That's exactly what everyone wants. We don't want this war to continue going on between Russia and Ukraine. We'd much rather there be an end to the fighting and for the overall market to recover and for CEI stock to crash, right? That's an ideal situation. But if you are in CEI stock, and I actually am, it's likely because you expect that there might not be so peaceful of a resolution coming anytime soon. Now, it's not as if you're benefiting directly off of the conflict going on. It's not like CEI is a weapons company selling weapons to Russia that they're then using on Ukrainians. It's a U.S.-based oil company whose product, oil, is now much more expensive than it once was due to the sanctions placed on Russia. So it's indirectly benefiting from the situation going on in Ukraine. So hopefully that clears up any moral qualms that people have with CEI stock. It's not actually contributing to anyone's suffering. But if you do expect the situation to get a little bit worse and for potentially these peace talks to not work out as well as the last ones have, right, then maybe you might want to be playing CEI, right? That's basically the gist of what people are doing with CEI. As the price of oil goes up, as sanctions get worse, as there are more hostilities between Russia and the rest of the world, CEI stock tends to perform well. Now, that has been on the decline over the past couple of days, very fortunately, right? And so CEI's price has been declining as well. But the overall market has actually been improving very slightly, right? A very slight increase in the overall market. But regardless, the market has been recovering as these developments have been playing out, as we've gotten more talks about peace. However, it's notable that those are not the only things going on, right? Satellite images are showing large Russian convoys regrouping near Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. So it's not as if the fighting is done and it's an all-around peaceful situation. There are two sides to this story, right? There are still a bunch of hostilities going on in Ukraine and a bunch of assaults on the capital and other areas in Ukraine. Okay, they're fanning out around the outskirts of Kyiv, and artillery is being placed in positions to start firing on it. And, the worse this situation gets for Ukraine, the more likely people are to place sanctions on Russia. In fact, Russia today is likely going to lose their status as a most favored nation, and tariffs can start getting placed on their goods in the EU and the United States. So we're looking at a situation where it seems as if hostilities are increasing between Russia and the rest of the world, and that could lead to higher gas prices, higher oil prices, and that would likely lead to higher CEI prices, right? Because CEI has actually been trading based on oil. And if we take a look at the price of oil, you can see that over the past couple of days, as CEI has been falling, oil has been moving down and actually stagnating more recently, right around $100. We're actually up close to 2% today, but that's not been enough to help CEI from falling on the news that Russia and Ukraine are having some positive developments in their peace talks. So all things considered, I think everyone can agree that if we could go one of two ways, we'd much rather have the situation in Russia and Ukraine solve itself and CEI move down and the rest of talks move up and everyone is in a much better situation that way, right? A lot of the risk to the world and to people's lives has been eliminated. However, if you don't expect that to be the case, there are a couple of catalysts that could be moving CEI up. If you think things are going to go in a different way, then there are some things that might be moving up CEI, and it's a decent hedge, in my opinion, against some of the bad stuff going on in the world. So something that might be moving up CEI, we've talked about it in the past videos, is actually what Russia might end up doing to punish the rest of the world, which could serve to spike gas and oil prices, okay? Russia has said in the past that they would consider banning the sale of oil and gas to Europe to really put them in a stranglehold, essentially, right? Because a lot of gas comes to Europe from Russia. The EU gets about 40% of its gas from Russia, 25% of its oil, and if Russia all of a sudden decided to stop selling that to them, that would be a big hit to the EU. Now, Russia also gets about 40% of their federal revenue from sales of oil, so they probably don't want to do that. A lot of that probably comes from Europe, so they don't want to do it, right? It would be bad for their economy as well, but they are looking at a situation where we keep putting on additional sanctions. Once again, they're losing their most favored nation status. as a trade partner. So we're going to start tariffing some of their goods. And it's looking like a situation where Russia might decide to retaliate economically to some extent, and that could lead to a further increase in the price of oil. Now, there's no guarantee there. We don't actually know what's going to happen yet for sure, but oil could be on the rise again. This might not be the peak that we've seen if they end up doing that. That could cause a very short term, or not a very short term, but a very large spike short term in the price of oil. It would likely translate into CEI as well. At least that's what's happened in the past. Hopefully, it would translate into CEI. And there's a real possibility that that could happen. Now, in the meantime, what's going on with the price of CEI? Unfortunately, it's down. It's down about 12% once again today. Most of that's due to peace talk news, but also it has been losing some favorability on StockTwits. It's down to the number 6 top trending stock. It was number 4 yesterday, so it's losing some traction there. On Reddit, surprisingly enough, it's actually up today. It's up to spot number 15. Potentially, people are talking about some of the negative news surrounding it, why it was moving down. And then on Google Trends, we're actually seeing not the best stuff, but not the worst, right? Day after day, we've actually been moving down in searches for CEI stock. But lately, we've actually been on a little bit of a spike up. So potentially, we're going to see some new buyers on CEI. Maybe we'll see some new buyers. If we do end up continue moving up trends-wise, if people continue to search for this stock, we might see some additional people getting interested, deciding to get into this play. And before we end the video, I do want to implore you guys, if you are interested in subscribing to the channel, it looks like we just lost a subscriber right there. So feel free to replace them and join the family, right? We're trying to get this number much higher, much as we are with, if CEI, if things get worse, then we'd like CEI to get higher along with the price of oil. But we'd also like a lot of stocks to get a lot higher. And that's probably only going to happen once we start to see some positive developments for Russia and Ukraine. So all in all, hopefully we'll see a good outcome there. And other than that, guys, that's what we got for the day. That's what's going on with CEI. Keep in mind, none of this is financial advice. And today is Friday, so hopefully you guys will have a great weekend. Hopefully we'll get some good news coming out from Russia and Ukraine over the weekend. And other than that, hopefully you all enjoy yourselves during this weekend. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.